If you're a drummer who's been playing for any period of time, you will have come across this problem. You're playing with your band, you're trying to do a fill, and nothing comes out. Or you just trip over yourself, you try and go for things that don't quite work. Or you constantly find that you're running out of ideas when you're playing. You're not alone. This is pretty common stuff. So I've made this video to help you. If you find that when you go for drum fills you're playing the same thing over and over, that your ideas are a little bit boring, then this video is for you. If you find that you're trying things that don't quite work, that you're going for drum fills that aren't quite coming out, that you're not ending them properly, or that you're kind of endlessly learning groupings and licks and not really doing anything else, then this video should help you. One of the biggest problems people have when they're practicing drums or practicing fills is that they're really only employing one part of their brain. They're employing the mechanical part. So they get very, very good at practicing rudiments on a snare drum really quickly. They get very, very good at learning patterns. So we learn paradiddles, we learn double strokes, we learn flams, and we do need to know these things, but they never really get to apply them. And one of the reasons that they're not applied very well is because of the way they're learned. So there's a lot of videos online you'll see where people are playing extremely fast on a pad, and it sounds amazing on one surface, but moving around the drum set in the moment and improvising is a completely different beast. One of the reasons the pad method, if you like, doesn't work when you're kind of under a pressure situation and you've got to improvise is that you've learned something mechanically. So in order to get it in the right place, you have to recreate the conditions under which you learned it. This is why very often you can learn a lick in practice, and when you come to do it with a band, it just doesn't come out properly. This is because what you're doing has no musical context. It's very often played with a click, dry on a pad. Okay, and again, you have to do this to start with, but how do we get it off of the pad onto the drum set? Well, the answer is really, really simple. You have to learn to sing what you're playing. It's something that most people will avoid. When I try and get students to do it, most of them look absolutely horrified. They're like, I've come for drum lessons. Why the hell do I have to sing? But the fact is that singing what you're playing means two things. First off, means that you're giving it musical context. Just as an aside, imagine how good you would be if you could play everything you could hear in your head. Well, you can. You have to learn to sing it and play it. If you learn to get your hands to follow what your voice is doing, two things happen. First off, you're able to improvise much more easily. And secondly, you'll find that you can check that what you think you're playing is what you're actually playing. Because very often the reason you make mistakes is because you can't quite hear where something's going. So take this classic fill from the TV show EastEnders. If you're not from the UK, EastEnders is a very famous soap opera that's been running here for years. The opening fill, everybody knows it. Da, 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 da. So I'm playing it here. Now, if you go to your drum set and sing that fill and try and play it, it'll come out. And what you'll find is it comes out in time. So the trick then is to expand that out. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to apply this to your rudimental playing. So we're going to take one of my favourite rudiments, an inward paradiddle. So it's a paradiddle with the double in the middle. Right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. But what you're going to do is place your right hand on the floor tom and your left hand on the snare drum, and you're going to play that pattern, and then you're going to sing you're going to sing the right hand part of the floor tom, and you'll get this melody. Da, 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 da. You'll find once you can hear that half of it, you'll notice that you stop thinking about the left hand. You'll notice that you stop thinking about what the left hand is doing, and you start thinking about musical flow. You stop thinking right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. See, I can't even do it here very easily. And you just start hearing the melody and move it around the drum set. This came from a lesson with a student where the student came in saying, I have to use an inward paradiddle in my fills and I'm being assessed at college. And he just couldn't do it because he learnt it mechanically on a pad and it had no musical application. And so when you take a rudiment of the drum set, split it in half, put one hand on the floor tom and sing it. Just as a final example, I'm going to show you the inward paradiddle moved around the drum set. Listen to the tom pattern. Da, 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 da. I'm just moving, now I'm left-handed, so I'm just moving my leading hand around the drum set. You can just leave your left hand on the snare drum, move your right hand around, or if you're left-handed, do it in reverse. And listen to the melody. Hopefully you can see the applications from this. It's a very, very simple technique, but if you vocalize it as you're doing it, da, 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 you'll start thinking in music instead of lefts and rights. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you're interested, feel free to send me a message on Facebook. Look up my page, Drumgnosis. Practice slowly, sing it out loud. I hope this has been helpful. This is Mark Smith from Drumgnosis. See you soon. Cheers.